The Extinction Rebellion co-founder has been convicted for smashing the Department of Transport glass. We're going to read into this more from Byline Times, guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article from Byline Times with the headline that Extinction Rebellion co-founder has been convicted for smashing the Department of Transport's glass. Her planned speech to the jury in full. Dr Gail Bradbrook had been threatened with contempt of court for giving her motivations for direct action. She carried on over a dozen interruptions. Now, I understand Extinction Rebellion's cause. But there is a way, and I understand the need for protest and the right to protest, the right to speak, and I get that. But smashing the glass window of the Department of Transport, I'm really curious to know what the justification for that is. Do you think there's serious justification for smashing the glass window at the Department of Transport? Is that really the right way of doing it? There is a way to do things, and I get it. You want attention, but is really smashing glass, is that really going to do it? Just think they kind of this is, it just comes across to me as, before I've even read into this, as desperation for the government's attention. I just don't think this is the way to do it, but that's just me, guys. So the retrial of Extinction Rebellion's co-founder for breaking a £27,000 pane of glass at the Department of Transport in 2019 has concluded with her conviction for criminal damage today, on November the 1st, at Isleworth Crown Court. Byline Times can now publish the speech that Dr Gail Bradbrook planned to give to the jury during the trial. The judge ruled that she had no defence in law for her actions, in which Dr Bradbrook accepted, but XR, that's Extinction Rebellion, activists had hoped that the jury might acquit her on the grounds of consent. This didn't happen and she was found guilty. She's due to receive her sentence on December the 18th. The jury knew that she smashed glass. She broke the law. She can't do it. Like, it was the right decision by the jury. Allies had feared she would face contempt charges for defying an order not to tell the jury her climate-based motivations for her actions. But the judge appeared to withdraw this threat. Threats for the so-called Section 46 judge-only trial, a provision brought into law for in case of organised crime to avoid witness intimidation, were also withdrawn. After her conviction, Extinction Rebellion said that authorities should be prosecuting the politicians and corporations causing criminal damage on the planetary scale, and not ordinary people trying to stop them. I can't really, like, I get you. Like, I understand that there's a lot of politicians and that are causing damage. I get that. But that still doesn't justify what she did. Okay? I get the point. But this doesn't justify it. Dr Bradbrook had pointed to the evidence she received, evidence recently revealed by the Times. Now, the Department of Transport controversial HS2 project, which formed part of the motivations for her action, was a multi-billion-pound fraud on the British public. However, the judge directed the jury that it did not amount to a defence. Yeah, there was as I said, there was a great video by Political X on the HS2 that really kind of breaks down just how much of a scandal High Speed Rail 2 is, and I'll put a link for that and the link for that specific video in the description if you guys want to have a look at that. Speaking after the verdict, Dr Bradbrook said, "I'm at peace with the verdict. What does it tell us? That there is no accountability for those causing damage on a national and planetary scale, but that of a mother taking action to protect her children according to a scientific evidence is treated as a criminal. Trust in a system that reaches such inhumane conclusions can last." Again, I get your point, but it doesn't justify your actions. Dr Bradbrook attempted to give the following speech to the jury in full. She was interrupted around 15 times by the judge. As she said, her motives were not relevant. The jury was also sent out 3 times as she attempted to give her reasoning for her actions. We reproduced her planned speech to the jury in full. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing here is going to be reading what the speech she was basically going to say, which is going to be interesting to say the least. Refusing to let me say my motives is incompatible with the rights to a fair trial. Dr Gail Bradbrook's planned statement to the jury before her conviction. So this is what she states. Since October 2019, when I took the action that I am now charged with, there has been a lot of legal ruling and a lot of twists and turns. The law keeps changing and it's hard for anyone to know where they stand. I'd like to check. I've understood the common level effective of the rulings. First, what I am permitted and not permitted to tell the juries about my actions. Secondly, the situation concerning witnesses. Third, what I am permitted and not permitted to say about the role of the jury. On what I am permitted to say about my actions in 2021, the Court of Appeal ruled that there were peaceful direct actions were banned from telling a jury that their actions were necessary to prevent loss of life. In 2022, the Court of Appeal ruled that they were also banned from putting it to a jury that their actions were a proportionate response in accordance with the Human Rights Act. Last Thursday, you ruled that I could not present an argument to the jury that I believed that those with the right to consent to my actions on the Department of Transport would have consented if they knew the full circumstances and were free from coercive pressure. The culminating effect of these rulings, as I understand it, is that I am not allowed to present any defence to the jury. There will be a jury trial at subsequent substantial expenses of the public, but a trial in which only one side of the story gets told, and in which the role of that jury is essentially to rubber stamp the directions of the judge. Since you have ruled that I have no defence, you have also deemed that nothing I say to explain myself will be accepted as relevant and admissible evidence. You said at one of the pre-trial reviews on the 21st of October 2022 that if I failed to attend court, I would miss out on the opportunity to tell the jury on my side of what happens. Those were your words, Judge. It turned out that there was a condition attached to it, i.e. you're ruling that, legally speaking, my side of the story does not exist. My understanding is that I will be permitted to talk to the jury as long as I don't try to say anything directly related to the allegations against me. I will be allowed to talk about my background, my qualifications, my family, etc., etc., because they will create an illusion that I am free to talk. It would be too revealing if I were to literally prevent it from saying anything. But I'm not allowed to explain to the jury why I did what I did. I'm not allowed to explain the context of or motives for my actions. The jury must decide the case without that context. If I try to explain why I did what I did, I will be treated as being in contempt of court and may be sent to prison. Alternatively, you will proceed to a judge-only trial. Second, the situation concerning witnesses. I have served two expert witness statements on the court. The first concerns on the Department of Transport suppression of evidence and then the expansion of Heathrow Airport and other projects that would cause the Paris Agreement temperature limit to be breached with catastrophic implications for the public. The second concern is the state failure to investigate serious allegations that those in power are knowingly taking actions that will cause a mass loss of life and the destruction of whole countries and regions of the world. You have ruled that these statements are inadmissible and that they may not be presented to the jury. I am not permitted to present compelling evidence and recently reported in the Times that the HS2 project, high-speed rail project, for those who don't know, led by the Department of Transport, was a multi-billion-pound fraud against the British public. Neither am I permitted to provide the jury without the full account of what I said to the police. Third, what am I permitted to say about the role of the jury? You have disputed the existence of the jury's right to acquit a defendant, irrespective of the directions of the judge, and I do not propose to inform the jury of that right. Last week, I presented with you the judgment of the higher courts concerning the role of the jury. In the case of the Gonclaves, the 2011 EWCA Crim 1703, 2013 to CRAPPR 14 at 38 - the Court of Appeal said, a jury is entitled to acquit and its reasons for doing so are unknown. It is their right which cannot be questioned. In the case of Wong 2009 UKHL 9, the House of Lords said, as it is, however, the acquittal of such high-profile defendants as Pointing, Rangel and Pottle have been quite as much welcomed as resent by the public, over which many centuries has adhered tendency to its historic choice, and their decision on the guilt of defendant charged with serious crime should rest with the jury of lay people, random selected and not with professional judges. that the last word should rest with the jury remains, as Sir Patrick Devon, written in 1956, said, an assurance that the criminal law will conform to the original man's idea of what is fair and just. If it does not, the jury will not be a party to its enforcement. The executive knows that in dealing with the liberty of the subject must not do anything which would seriously disturb the consensus of the average member of parliament or the average juryman. I know of no other real checks that exist today upon the power of the executive. Because you are directing the jury, I have no defence. These statements of principles are highly relevant to me. They are the only thing I have left. The jury's right to acquit. Despite your directive, I have no defence. But you have ruled that I cannot present the jury with these principles, either by reading them out or directly by summarising them. The effort of your ruling is that the judge is right to acquit, which has been acknowledged by the Court of Appeal. You must be concealed from the jury. If I attempt to communicate to the jury of their right, so that they may exercise it, I will likewise be in contempt of court. I may be sent to prison, and you may discharge the jury. I would like to be clear on my position. I am an honest person. I have understood your ruling, but they are incompatible with the right to a fair trial, which is protected by law. They are inconsistent with the oath that I will take when giving evidence to tell the whole truth. That's quite a statement, I should say. Whew. I hope you guys heard that. I hope you guys heard that right. Give me one moment. So she made some valid points. She said made some valid points there. So she wasn't able to speak to the jury, and she was cut off many times. So this did not come across as a fair trial, according to her, and that she should have been acquitted of her actions. I'll let you decide, the judge of that, whether you think she should have been acquitted of her actions. But I still stand by my comments I said at the start of this video. I understand her point. I understand that I understand there is a climate crisis. I understand that we have a government right now that is completely ignorant of what's going on in the world. I totally understand that, and I'm not disputing her argument. But it doesn't give you the right to do what you did. Yeah, and the best way to make a change is by voting. And I know we want a general election now. We want change right now, and I get that, and I totally get that, and I'm sure many people in the comment section will agree with me. There is a way to deal with things, and this is not the way to do them. And I'm pretty sure that one of the other arguments will be that they've taken all the legal routes, and you probably have taken all the legal routes. But this is not. But you know, breaking, smashing glass is not going to get your point out there. It's not going to make a massive difference. It really is not, because all you're doing is playing into the hands of people into the hands of the climate deniers, saying that, ooh, look, these people are nuts. You see, you're playing into their hands essentially as well. Is the other point. So. Yeah, I just don't think it was the right decision for her to have done what she did. But what do you guys think? What do you think of her decision, of Dr Gail Bradbrook's decision to do that? What do you guys think of this trial? What did you guys think of her speech? The speech that I've read to you guys. You can go back and read it again yourselves just to kind of get the context of it. As a good speech this was, and even if the trial was unfair on her, and I'm not going to say whether it was unfair or she should have been acquitted. I'm not going to say that the case was unfair or not, because I honestly don't know that, because I have not followed the case. Maybe one or two of you may have in the comments. But what I will say is that it still, regardless of her position and her reasoning for doing it, it does not justify for me her fact that she still broke the law. That's my position on it. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like, share and subscribe as always, guys, because that always helps the algorithm. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.